Okay, the purpose of your aerobic run is to improve your energy delivery system. And as you are working out, you're running, biking, or swimming, your body uses a combination of fuels, both fat and carbohydrates. Fat, we have an unlimited supply of fat. Even the leanest person has an unlimited supply of fat, well, fairly unlimited. However, our carbohydrate and glycogen storage is very limited. And so when our body depends on that carbohydrate, that glycogen, our body is going to be limited with how long we can continue at that intensity. So the purpose of aerobic training, the purpose of staying in your aerobic zone is to really improve your ability to use fat for fuel. If you look at any endurance athlete that is high level, high performing, their ability to use fat at paces that are closer to race pace is very, very heightened, and they are going to be much more efficient. A novice or a new athlete is going to start tapping into more carbohydrates at race pace intensity. As we go in intensity from, let's just say, a walk, and as we increase our intensity, our body is going to be using both fats and carbohydrates, but the predominant fuel at the low intensities is going to be fat. And eventually carbohydrates start to kick in. You're starting to tap into your glycogen at a higher percentage, and that, for depending on your fitness level, that's going to happen. That can happen early or it can happen later in your pace progression, but it is going to happen. And the aerobic run, the purpose of that is to help you train in your fat burning zone. And a little bit of background about your aerobic zone. In order to produce the energy needed and get the energy needed to maintain that intensity, your body is using the aerobic system. And the aerobic system is going to work as hard as it possibly can. And that's the point where we're stressing the mitochondria the most. The mitochondria help you to use fat for fuel. And it's like our energy currency. And that continues up until the point where the aerobic system is not strong enough to continue delivering the energy for that pace. Now, once that happens, once you get to the intensity, and it's typically a moderate intensity, once you get to the intensity where your aerobic system is tapped out, you're stressing the mitochondria to its fullest, you're not able to continue at that pace without asking for help. That's when the glycolytic system kicks in. When the glycolytic system kicks in, you are getting your energy both aerobically, but you're also having some of the glycolytic system kick in. You don't want to be at that intensity very often, because when that glycolytic system comes in, it encourages carbohydrate combustion, and that's what's going to happen. Lactate levels rise, and your carbohydrate combustion goes up, and you never really optimize the efficiency. Now, at that intensity, you're probably going to walk away feeling like, hey, I got a great workout, I ran really well, I pushed myself. But let's go back to the original purpose of the aerobic run. The aerobic run, the purpose is to train your body to use more fat for fuel. And there's an intensity where if you start going beyond that intensity, you're not improving your body's ability to use fat for fuel. And so when you see the aerobic run, when you see that pace, it's going to feel like a comfortable pace, and it shouldn't feel challenging. It shouldn't be difficult, and that's so important to monitor as you are training. So stick to those aerobic zones, because those zones are going to be absolutely essential to developing you aerobically. Yes, we are going to develop the glycolytic system. A small portion of your training is going to be to develop the glycolytic system, but we can't train that and spend most of our time focusing on that, because we don't want to strengthen our ability to use carbohydrates for fuel. We want to strengthen our ability to use fat for fuel. Ironman, half Ironman, sprint, Olympic distance triathlon is really about how aerobic you are. And the degree of when the glycolytic system kicks in is going to be dependent on the distance that you're training for. A little bit goes a long way with the glycolytic system. When you think glycolytic system, think faster, higher intensity, quick energy demand, but it's very inefficient. You want to develop your aerobic system. So This will help you burn more fat for fuel. It'll help you be able to put in more training and more volume as you continue in the sport, because it reduces your chance for injury. And the speed, the faster stuff, that's always the icing on the cake, and that's always the extra stuff. So if you're neglecting the aerobic and you're just focusing on trying to get faster by trying to run every run faster and trying to improve your times on each run, that's the wrong way of looking at it. Let's develop the physiology necessary to allow us to run faster. The stronger your aerobic system is, the more efficient and the stronger you're going to be as a runner. It does take time, but it's absolutely essential. So don't neglect the aerobic runs. Those are so important, and I can't emphasize this enough if you want to improve in the sport of triathlon.